Welcome to Smart Brown Voices, your weekly podcast featuring diverse voices from around the world, giving you insights on how others made it big in their respective fields. Now sit back, grab a notebook, and get ready to be inspired. And don't forget to use hashtag #SmartBrownVoices to share insights, moments of wisdom, and things from the show that inspire you. And now, here's your host, social media nerd and technology activist, Mr. Mike Street.
What's up, everybody? It's me, Mr. Mike Street. This is episode 83 of Smart Brown Voices. So thanks, everybody, so much for being supporters of this show. A lot of you have been emailing me because you want to be guests on this show. So send me email at streetforce1@gmail.com. Send me your story and your headshot, and, we'll make it happen. So today we're going to be talking to Sean. What's up, Sean? You're chilling at Pink Honey is the name of your agency?
Yes. So my thing is sort of twofold. So I'm founder of Pink Honey. We're a digital agency based in Brooklyn. And also I'm founder of a real estate startup named Zera. We're also based out of Brooklyn. So we kind of wear two hats at the same time.
Awesome. So first of all, I have to ask you, where does the name Pink Honey come from?
It's interesting. It was more so my business partner. It's, so my other business partner, my founder is a woman, right? So we kind of wanted something that was sort of feminine, but also really, really creative and kind of like embody a real creative tone as something that would kind of like put people off a little bit. And also, we feel like what we do is pretty sweet. So we really want to have a creative name for what we've done. But the interesting thing is we kind of fell into agency life by mistake so much. We originally are just product builders. So originally we had a startup named Matchpad, which, we'd helped 170,000 users find roommates, different things of that sort. And we had so many people kind of come to us, wanting to build products, like in kind of like our fast and really poignant way of building products. They started asking us to build stuff for them. And then it just became one of the things where we can kind of have this agency and also build products at the same time.
So how do you know that your product is going to be a hit or a miss?
You don't know. That's the funny thing. You really don't know. Interesting enough, with a startup that I had about 3 years ago, with each, product, whether, there's successes or failures, there's going to be obviously more failures than successes a lot of the times in this space. You really, really just have to keep building it and really, serve the customer, get, customer feedback, user feedback, different things like that. So it wasn't really until this is about my third startup at this point, where I really just understand that you really don't know whether it's going to be a failure or success. You really even don't know how users are going to really use your product. You really just got to kind of build, gain feedback, do it again, build, gain feedback, do it again until you have something that, the public and users really want to use.
So you've come up with a lot of, different product ideas, startup ideas. Like, where do you find how can our users figure out how to figure out what their product should be?
I just think it's really more about looking for voids in the market, or even looking for markets that are, not even there yet. A lot of it, is really just having a keen understanding of the environment around you. What's going on in the world, and understanding there are probably things out there that need fulfilling, certain niches and certain needs. And if you can find those needs and you can build a product that can fulfill those needs, even sometimes fulfilling needs that people don't even think they need yet, in the case of maybe an Uber, no one really knew that they would want to have an automated car service until someone built it. Now people can't live without it, right? So it takes, a lot of courage, and it also takes a lot of studying of, everything that's going around you and around the world in general.
So finding a need and fulfilling that need. So write that down for all of you guys out there taking notes, because that's the best way for you to, figure out what your product is really by solving solving problems that you see out in the marketplace.
Absolutely.
So Sean, tell us, so you're on your third startup, and you're doing kind of two startups simultaneously. So when do you find time to sleep?
You really don't find time, because in general, you're always thinking about, what else that needs to be done. So it's just like, it's really just about finding those little pockets of space where you can catch some Z's and also catch a little bit of peace of mind. But, entrepreneur life, as you know, Mike, it's really, there's no sleep for the weary. You're always on, and there's really never a point where you're not concerned about the next goal or the next milestone that you need to hit. So I think it just is more so of, training yourself. Exercising is great, all the above. And obviously, like you said, just getting, enough sleep, whatever that is for you. Some people need 8, other people need like 4. But really just having kind of like that balance and that real steady state of mind to understand that this is truly a marathon and not a sprint. And, once you hit a milestone and a goal, that there's going to be 8 more ahead of you that you're going to need to hit. And you have to kind of build not only your body, but also your mind to, be able to run that marathon.
So, for our entrepreneurs who are listening out there, like, how can they really identify what the milestones are? Because I know, like, when I'm talking to a lot of people, they're going in 1,000 different directions, and it's hard for them to really focus in on, what is the next step for that business, because it could be many different steps, but a lot of people have a hard time like really pinpointing like what is that next milestone for my business. So give us some insights on how you guys are figuring that out.
So right now we're in product building mode. So with Zera, we're on our second iteration, and our milestones are really based on hitting development milestones and making sure that our developers have everything they need, and also being able to build a brand around that. So for us, it's really more so about, through each sprint, as we keep going on, are we hitting the certain things that we need to hit within that? And I think you have to have a clear understanding within your team, like what a milestone is, what a victory is, even the smallest of things. And I think even within the person, the entrepreneur themselves, I think you have to really revel in the small victories. And it gets crazy because you have these to-do lists and they don't ever seem to end. You always just seem like keep piling on and piling on and piling on. And I think, if you can go through, each day and you can do 2 to 3 major things. If you look at let's say if you do 3 major things and you have a 5-day work week, obviously 7 if you're an entrepreneur, that can be 15 major things throughout the week that you could get done. You keep doing that consistently, then you have a pretty fair chance of achieving whatever goal you set out. So I think it's more so about trying to have these milestones and these goals in really small bites, and not try to have like these grandiose goals. Obviously you have grandiose goals, but you really have to kind of have small, medium, large, and recognize when you meet these particular things and kind of really appreciate them in the moment, and then continue to go on to the next one. Because I think a lot of times entrepreneurs can put a lot of pressure on themselves. And I think there's enough pressure in building a business in itself. So you have to be able to revel in the small victories, especially when you have a team around you that you have to motivate and continue to grow.
And so what are some tools that you're using in your business that help you stay productive?
Oh, man, we have a couple. So Slack for sure. I don't know what we did before, I guess, email, right? But it's Slack for sure. It's, we all kind of message. That's kind of our first approach when it comes to communicating with people these days. So being able to divide our projects and certain things into Slack channels, and knowing that you can allocate conversations into, particular sections is definitely good. I would say also Toggle is great. Toggle is good because we're able to track time and really kind of, whether it's a client or, people that we're working with, a vendor, we're able to really track, what we're doing and what we're spending our time on. So we're able to kind of quantify where we can improve and where like a lion's share of our time is going. And then I would also say Toggle and then Trello for sure, especially if you're working with developers. You have to, have QA reports, you have to fix bugs. There's an assortment of things that you have to do, especially if you're non-technical like myself. My co-founder is a little bit more technical and my other co-founder is more technical. Trello is a great way for you to be able to see firsthand in cards what's going on, the progress that's being made, things of that sort, in kind of a real organized way. And interesting enough, I would say Google Docs. So we work in a collaborative, sort of method. Before you used to send, Word documents and it'd be in an email, and then if someone changed it, you wouldn't be able to see the change. Next thing you know, you have 15 Word documents going for one project, and the back and forth can get crazy. So we actually work collaboratively within Google Docs. So, if I'm working on something and then, my co-founder Ann comes in and changes something, I can see it right there. And we're able to have everything stay within the cloud. So let's say, for instance, I'm away for the weekend. It's not, okay, let me call Sean because he forgot to email me. It's, okay, all I have to do is go to the cloud, pull it up, and everything is right there. So I really think that for any entrepreneur, you have to have a set of tools that you really rely on to help you stay efficient and essentially stay afloat. Obviously, in the beginning, you may not have those tools, but I would always advise people to research and adapt these tools and really, have your team adapt those tools as just a way you do business and the way you create in general.
All right, so now you got your tools for productivity. So now what tools are you using to keep you motivated since you're working on 2 startups and, probably doing 24-hour days. So what tools are you using to keep you motivated as an entrepreneur?
I would say definitely I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to podcasts just in general. It's just so funny because, before it's just to be a lot of music. And now I find myself, even when I'm riding my bike, even when I'm just working, I'm just really listening to podcasts and making sure that I'm getting great insights from, various entrepreneurs, even just entertainers, and keeping myself abreast of things that keep me motivated. And then, honestly, just like anyone else, I go to YouTube. I'm looking for, motivational videos, different things like that to keep me, pumped up. So just anything that's, it's nothing like really, crazy. It's just really just seeking the media that keeps me learning and learning more so than anything is what keeps me motivated. The fact that my mind is continuously moving, regardless if it's something that's pertaining to the business specifically. I think that the more I continue to learn, the more I can better serve my business. So any, it could be a book, any tool that allows me to continue to learn, not only about business, but about myself, is what keeps me motivated in general.
Awesome. And I hope Smart Brown Voices is on that motivational playlist.
Absolutely.
But no, I'm the same way. I've been running like about 10 miles a day. So I'm always listening to a podcast to keep me going on that journey, because it takes me about 2 hours from start to finish to go around Central Park. So what are some podcasts that you're listening to other than Smart Brown Voices that our listeners should add to their playlist so they can, elevate their brains?
So I actually listened to Tim Ferriss' podcast is one that I really kind of taken to. It's just, it's really interesting hearing his perspective on, not only just building businesses, but kind of just building yourself to help yourself build the business. And I think a lot of times people look for kind of like the silver bullet. as far as, what did this person do, or, how can I get it done just like this person, things of that sort. And I just think it is really interesting, rather than seeing how people, do it in the sense of this is how they built the business. I really like to see how people really kind of build themselves, and kind of the different, methodologies that they use, mind states, books they read, different things like that. And I think Tim Ferriss has a really, really interesting perspective. He has like a kind of like a stoic mind state. So that really kind of, wanted me to, it drew me to start reading, some Stoic writers from back when. And so different things like that. But a lot of times I'm really just, I'm fishing, and I'll listen to a podcast here and there. And then, I'm kind of jumping to the next one and the next one. But Tim Ferriss is definitely one that I listen to, on a regular.
Awesome. And I'll give you, if you haven't listened to Neil Patel and Eric Swee's Art of Marketing School, that's a really good podcast. And I'm also been obsessed lately with Side Hustle School is a really good one. And then The Art of Paid Traffic is another podcast that I listen to. But my favorite podcast of recent was Shittown, which is, I don't know if you've had a chance to listen to that one. I binged that a couple of days ago, so that was pretty good. That's from the people that brought you Serial.
Yeah, and then, Gimlet has their thing going on as well. I think it's just really interesting, kind of how podcasts has really, really started coming to the forefront, and even how advertisers are interacting with, podcast networks. Like many, many lives ago, which is what I say based on all the things I've done in, I guess in my short period on this earth. I had an internet radio show based in Dumbo, and that was I guess pre-podcast. And then on the same network, there was this gentleman by the name of Combat Jack. And he's risen to kind of be one of the leading hip hop podcasters out there with loudspeaker networks. So kind of seeing, the growth within that network, seeing how Reggie has grown, it really kind of interests me just how far it's come and how far it's going to continue to grow, moving forward as a new, piece of media.
Awesome. Well, Sean, thank you so much for being on this episode of Smart Brown Voices, sharing your productivities and motivational tips with us. So let everybody know how they can find you on the interwebs.
Okay, awesome. So obviously LinkedIn is Sean McKenzie. It sounds as Irish as it sounds. It's SeanMckenzie. The same goes for Instagram, except for underscore between Sean and McKenzie. And I would definitely hope that you follow me, and I will certainly follow you right back.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on this episode of Smart Brown Voices. And we will be back soon with a bunch more episodes. And like I said, episodes 90 through 100 are coming soon. So that's when we're going to bring back our favorite guests from the past and get some updates on what they've been doing, because a lot of them have actually been doing a lot of big things after they appeared on Smart Brown Voices. So we want to talk about success in episodes 90 through 100, because a lot of those people who have been on this show have gotten funding or started their own podcasts. So we want to kind of give you an update on where people have been after being on this show, so that we can get everyone else who's been on this show or who listens to this show down the road of success as well. All right, so that's it for this episode, and we'll be back soon. Peace out.
Thanks for listening to Smart Brown Voices with your host, Mr. Mike Street. If you like what you just heard, we hope you'll leave a review on iTunes and tell your friends and colleagues. Be sure to check out our archive section on our website for previous podcasts, and make sure to follow us on social media. This has been a Mr. Mike Street production. Join us next time for another edition of Smart Brown Voices, and be inspired.